so that we can see the whole photo. Next up, we have wide. Wide gives us a great opportunity to show you what this number 1 icon does in each of these rectangles. As you can see here, when I click on it for this B-roll video, it moves it to the top of the layout. Each of these layouts has a number 1, designating where that number 1 icon places which one of those is selected. So as you can see here, that B-roll clip moves there. And now Peter moves to the top. In order to manipulate what is in the 2, 3, and 4 spot, you need to use the number 1 icon in order of which that you want someone to appear in number 4. Next up, the full screen icon. This is the hero button.
Wait,
when
what?
you want that B-roll clip or someone to appear in number 4. Next up, the full screen is which one of those is selected. So as you can see here, that B-roll clip moves there. And now Peter moves to the top. In order to manipulate what is in the 2, 3, and 4 spot, you need to use the number 1 icon in order of which that you want someone to appear in number 4. Next up,
what does that even mean?
This is the hero button. That B-roll clip moves there. And now Peter moves to the top. In order to manipulate what is in the 2, 3, and 4 spot, you need to use the number 1 icon in order of which that you want someone to appear in number 4. Next up, the full screen icon. This is the hero button. When you want that B-roll clip or that person to take over the whole screen and demand all of the attention of the audience. Once you have that full screen button selected, you can either deactivate it or activate someone else or something else in full screen as well. While in full screen, this gives you the ability to hide layout changes in the background. As you can see here, I'm switching to stack and I'm deactivating that HAPS logo. And now I'm going to go ahead and deactivate the full screen, and voila, I went from wide to stack and no one knew. Now, let's take a look over here at the comment section. You have the ability to send a private comment which goes out to anyone that is participating in the broadcast with you and moderators that are watching you from the other end. This gives you the opportunity to communicate privately and solve any issues that you may encounter. However, if you hit the lock button, you can also send out a public-facing comment, which anyone on the HAPS platform watching will be able to see and respond to. This gives you an ability to interact with the audience in a moment of pause or when someone else is speaking. Next up, we have notifiers. The notifiers are simply an upper third text and what you can use to promote your next broadcast, to provide additional information or facts about the story that you're currently working on, or to just simply say a few words about who you are. But for this example, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about HAPS and the breaking news that has happened recently. So first, you want to input a title. So for this title, I'm going to go ahead and hit breaking news.
Broken Studio.
And then hit the save button. Once you have your title set, you'll go down to the bottom and hit create new notifier. Once you have decided on what your notifier will say, go ahead and hit the blue save button on the right. And don't worry if you have a typo, as I do there. You can simply hit edit and change that to fix any mistakes that you made. And then hit save once again. I'm going to go ahead and add another notifier so you can see what this tool allows you to do in regards to sending more than one item onto the program window. You can see that there's the arrow buttons to the left of the notifiers that allows me to change the order in which they appear for me. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in this order because that's the order in which these things happened. Now, once I'm ready to push them to program, I simply select them and hit the blue push to program button. And you can see that in the program window, they'll appear at the very top as an upper third. Now, Takeovers is a very similar tool, but instead of an upper third, this is a full screen text. So just like the notifier, you have to first implement a title. Here I'm just going to go ahead and give it something generic. HAPS Beta, The Journey. Next up, you can actually change this HAPS branded image. In our scenario, we're just changing it from one to blue HAPS logo to a pink one, but you can see there that you can upload your own logo. This tool works exactly the same way as the notifier from that point forward. First, create new takeover, then write all of the text that you need to write, and then hit save. Once you're ready with your takeover, you simply select it and hit the push to program button. Now the final tab to pay attention to is the settings. This is where you can make any changes to your broadcast that you need to make, and also some emergency buttons that'll help you during your broadcast to troubleshoot some problems. First off, at the top of this, you can see that you can edit the title of your broadcast. You can edit the hashtags that you have added with your broadcast. And you can also edit the destinations that you're planning to send this to. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my Twitter now. Next up, you can choose between portrait and landscape. You want to make sure you do this before you hit the go live button in the top right corner, because you won't be able to once you're live. As you can see here, once I've hit that landscape button, the server is restarting. So you want to give it some time, as we did in the beginning, to get the servers up and running. Below that, you can see that there's this graphics options. During the broadcast, when you receive an award, we play an automated notifier that lets people know that you were given an award by another user. So you can decide if you want that to appear on the top of the screen, and you can also decide if you want to show your goals for that broadcast. All of these settings can be accessed from your HAPS profile settings, so that you don't have to change this every single time you go live. And as you can see below that, we have the Animate layout transitions. What this does is it simply allows you to have smoother transitions when you remove or add someone onto the program window. Now, the emergency buttons. First off, reset program layout. What this does is it allows you to remove everything from the program window, and it is most often used when someone accidentally deletes something from their uploaded content that was already activated in the program window. As you can see here, this drone footage is stuck in the program window, and it's no longer appearing in my uploaded section, which means that I cannot deselect it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is hit the reset program layout button and remove everything from the program. Now, I just simply add everything that I needed back on, and we're good to go again. Lastly, we have the restart graphics server button, and it'll often only be used when the graphics server isn't starting up in the program window. If you're experiencing any of those issues, please go ahead and hit restart graphics server. And if the issue is not resolved before you go live, go ahead and email me at p.delahoya@haps.tv. We'll be in the broadcast studio helping you as fast as possible. That concludes the end of our broadcast studio tutorial. All you need to do now is hit that go live button in the top right corner, and hope you have a great broadcast.
Thank you, but the studio is broken and will not go live. And as you can hear, I am very frustrated.
Bad news, good news. Bad news. CDC guidance keeps getting delayed on what the cans and can'ts are once you're fully vaccinated. Why? And what do we think is going to be the upshot of what people will be able to do?
I'm sure the CDC is in a difficult bind because they want to be careful with the guidance that they're giving. But I also think that now is the time to give people practical guidance. We have 8% of the population that's fully vaccinated, and we really need to tell them something more than keep up the same precautions that you were using before being vaccinated. That also defies common sense. And so I really think they should say to people, you can get together with others who are fully vaccinated indoors, including without masks. You can hug. And also, you can travel and see your family that you haven't seen for a long time. Keep on wearing masks while you travel, but you can travel now. You can go to museums. You can go to restaurants. We need to give some people some hope and the idea that they can reclaim some normality. That also is a counter to people like Governor Abbott and others, because we want to tell them the end is not far away. Here are the things that you can do once you are fully vaccinated.
Well, we know members of the administration watched the show, and they must have heard you railing about teachers getting vaccinated. And now Biden has said, at least with the vaccine distribution chain that they control, which is through the pharmacies, Those are going to have vaccines earmarked for teachers, staff, caregivers, day caregivers. Now, is that the secret sauce? Is that enough now to say, now reopen the schools? You're getting vaccinated, reopen.
So I think that the Biden administration actually missed an important opportunity, which is when they issued the school reopening guidelines a few weeks ago, they should have included vaccinations as part of those guidelines. They didn't. And now I think that there's going to be a bind. Now we are, thankfully, going to be able to get teachers and school staff vaccinated. That's a really good thing. But the next step is to say, what other layers can vaccination replace? As in, if you have teacher vaccinations and masking and improved ventilation, do you still need that 6-foot distancing? Or can you now go to 3-foot distancing if you have all these other measures? That's what the CDC needs to do next. And maybe if they're watching your show, maybe that's what they'll focus on as their next piece of guidance.
If they said to you, you get the vaccine, everything else, you'll have some masks, but you're not going to get any of the other things that are being asked. You have to go back. The vaccine's enough. Would that be true?
It would depend on the level of community transmission, and masking has to be required and enforced.
Dr. Lena Wen, always a plus. Thank you. So, as I was just talking to Dr. Lena Wen about, teachers are now, and remember, it's not just teachers. It's teachers because, look, we all know with our kids in schools, right? The teacher is very important. The staff, the people who are there, daycare, everywhere, there's a lot of people involved. So that whole group has just been moved to the front of the vaccine line in this one chain that the federal government controls, which is really the pharmacies now. But will President Biden be able to make good on his newly announced goal of getting schools back open? Is this the key? Got an important guest on it next.
The studio ask camera, ask microphone, ask notifications. No, allow notifications.
With Audible, I can be transported.
Reload. And it will not go past the screen that says enable camera and mic.
There's so many options. There's podcasts I'll listen to.
It wants to use my mic and camera, allow, but it won't go past that screen because it's broken and I can't fix it. And I've tried all day and I'm really frustrated.
Free 30-day trial. Just text join 15 to 500 500.
The Harry's razor is not the same. Because some of us are not the same.
Join, broadcast, and nothing freaking happens.
Designed to start sharp and stay sharp. And we never upcharge you for
And even though I play an engineer on TV, I'm not one and I can't fix this.
Harry's razors are here. Harry's, not the same. Available in-store and Harry's.com.
At Jackson Hewitt, we offer safe and easy ways to file with a skilled tax pro. Securely drop off your documents, have them picked up, or upload them and work with a tax pro online from home. Safe and easy ways.
What if
to
I go
file.
into my broadcast and invite myself? Let's try that. And I did email Pablo and I have not heard back. And I also sent in a report saying what it's doing. Although I tried to send a screenshot, but it wouldn't take a screenshot.
Sleep soundly tonight. With peace of mind.
Although I could take a picture from my other phone. Now, let's go into my broadcast, your profile. Let's go into the studio is broken. What do you hear? Looks okay. Although I could take a picture. Hello from Portland. Now, let's go into my broadcast. Now let me invite myself, but I can't invite myself from my own freaking broadcaster, can I? Is the camera off? Let me invite myself. Add guests.
Move your Xfinity services without breaking a sweat. Now that's simple, easy, awesome.
Invite.
Xfinity makes moving easy.
Let's try that.
Your services in about a minute. Get started today.
Why is custom insurance from EMC the best for your business?
Join broadcast.
Our cyber solutions coverage helps companies react.
How was your viewing experience? It sucks. I'll give it a 1-star today. I did thanks for your feedback. If you experienced an issue, please report it. I know this is a beta app, and I'm not very good at being patient because it's not going to work. It's going to say join broadcast, and the same thing's going to happen. As in, nothing happens. It's stuck.
TheraWorks Relief. Prevent and relieve muscle cramps. If you suffer from muscle cramps in your legs and feet, TheraWorks Relief can help. Get TheraWorks Relief today.
So why don't y'all talk to Sleeping Woof Woof, because he's cute and I can't.
After weeks of prodding here, as we were just discussing with
I
Dr.
can't.
Nina Wen, here, elsewhere, why don't teachers and the staff get vaccinated if we want to get kids back to school? President Biden today made a move.
We want every educator, school staff member, child care worker to receive at least one shot by the end of the month of March.
Now, we keep saying on the show, great, how? Turns out when it comes to delivering shots, the feds do control the rules for the pharmacies.
Starting next week and from the month of March, we'll be using our federal pharmacy program to prioritize the vaccination of pre-K through 12 educators and staff and child care workers.
So what's the problem? Well, once again, not enough supply for the demand. The latest numbers we have say pharmacies are only getting a little more than 2 million shots a week at this point. There are more than 3.2 million teachers in the United States, not just public schools. And they'll have to compete with everyone else for appointments. That's tough. So the feds won't be able to do this alone. The good news, bully pulpit still carries some weight. At the start of the week, all teachers could get a shot in just 31 states. After the president's announcement, it's now 38. It's good. But it's not like once teachers get a shot, right? Because he said one shot. So it doesn't mean they're going to get two. And even if they did, it's not home free. All the other things that the CDC lays out for reopening still have to figure in. Universal mask rules, spacing, ventilation, cleaning. This was never going to be a one-size-fits-all answer, and it shouldn't. There's just too much of a difference from one community to the other. That's why the decisions are happening at the district level. That's why your kid may still be in the hybrid mess, but their friend down the street goes to a different district riding the bus every day. I know, I'm living it. The latest CNN analysis found 72% of kids still live in a red zone, a high transmission area as defined by the CDC. That's a lot better than the 89% we saw the week before. So bottom line, we're still looking at about 4 million kids out of the 56 million in total in the U.S. who live in a county that meets the CDC's threshold for full in-person learning, meaning we ain't anywhere close to where we need to be. That raises this question. In light of the vaccine move, are we being too cautious when it comes to reopening schools? The teachers' unions say no. Let's put that to the test with the president of one of the largest teachers' unions next.
Join broadcast without camera and mic. It'll give me an error message.
We need to reduce plastic waste in the environment. That's why at America's beverage companies,
Our bottles are made to be remade.
An error has occurred. Sorry about that. Please try again. Reload the studio.
including the caps,
They're collected and separated from other plastics.
so they can be turned back into material that we use to make new bottles. That completes the circle and reduces plastic waste.
Please help us get every bottle back.
Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Let's take a little test together. Which looks better? This or this? This or this?
Seems clear to me. Saving cash beats spending it unwisely every time, which is why you'll love this offer from America's Best. Buy 2 pairs of glasses for just $69.95, and they'll throw in an eye exam for free. It's a savings of at least $50. That's not just a better deal, it's America's Best. Book an exam online today at americasbest.com.
With Root Insurance, you have the power to control your own rates, and that could save you a lot of money. Root is a new type of car insurance that looks deeper than other insurers by using the sensors in your smartphone to understand important details about how you actually drive. That's how Root is able to give better drivers a better price. Here's how it works. Download our app, get on the road, and they get quote. Learn how you can take control of your car insurance at joinroot.com.
It's happening more often, and it's not surprising. People are seeking out new places, trying new things, and discovering the best part is often hidden in the journey along the way. Find yourself in the Mazda CX-30. Want more power for your pursuits? Introducing the Mazda CX-30 Turbo with all-wheel drive.
Wow. I'm in love with Premier Protein Caramel.
This sweets person is like, I can do this. Premier, you nailed it. With 30 grams of protein, 160 calories, and just 1 gram of sugar, Premier Protein, too good to be good.
Sarah! Jenny Craig works. Introducing Rapid Results Max, our most effective weight loss program ever. You can lose up to 17 pounds in your first 4 weeks. Limited time offer and flexible delivery options with Jenny Craig.
So I had to quit college to help my mom, but I never wanted to quit my dream of a career in IT.
There are over 200,000 unfilled IT support roles in America. On Coursera, you can earn Google's IT Support Professional Certificate, designed to prepare you for an IT support career in about 5 months for $49 a month. No degree or experience needed.
My job now is amazing. I can spend more time with my family.
Find courses, certificates, and degrees on Coursera. Join for free at Coursera.org. Coursera, your course to success.
Biden is moving teachers up in line for the vaccine, but it's going to take time. We're talking about millions of teachers and staff. Remember, it's not just the teachers. Teachers matter, of course. But there are a lot of people that keep our kids in school and daycare all across the country, competing for the very few available appointments that do exist. Let's discuss whether we can afford to wait even longer to get our kids back in school. Randy Weingarten is president of the American Federation of Teachers. Good to see you. Welcome back on the show.
You too, Chris. Nice to see you.
How big a deal is the vaccine improvement and the protocol by Biden?
Look, it's huge. And, but even beforehand, we had just done some polling of our members, and about 25% of our members, or 20 to 25%, had gotten vaccines already. The really good news is 70% of our members really want it and want it quickly. And so we are overcoming vaccine hesitancy, particularly in our Black and Brown membership. And so this was, no pun intended, a shot in the arm when President Biden, said this yesterday about vaccines. But what, Dr. Wen said was really important, which is there is a roadmap. It's basically 3 things right now. It's the layered mitigation that CDC has told us is needed. It's the testing that the NFL and March Madness and others have done, because so much of the transmission of COVID is asymptomatic. And then what vaccines do, and this is really important, we don't know yet if they stop transmission. What we know is that if you, God forbid, get COVID, you're not going to get as sick and you well know what it means to be so sick.
Right, I hear you. I want to play you some sound from lawmakers on how they see this situation.
The vaccine wrong. If everybody has to be vaccinated, we might as well just tell people the truth. There will be no in-person instruction.
The Democratic Party puts the interests of education unions and special interests ahead of the well-being of our children
You've got them coming from all sides saying that the reason our kids aren't back in schools are because the teachers are being unreasonable about this. And they don't want to take the risk of the rest of us. What's your take?
Look, it's completely false. And, some of the people, and sorry, I get very angry about this. My union has been trying to reopen schools since last April. We know how important in-school learning is. But we had a president who refused to collect data, give us the guidance that the CDC has just given us, and given us the resources. These are the three things. And I was on your show. I begged for it for months and months and months. And ultimately what's happening is that between some of the resources we already got in December, which is starting to be out there, the resources in the Rescue Act, this vaccine announcement, and the CDC guidance, you've already seen in the last few weeks a turnaround that all the school districts that had closed in November or December because of the surge are now reopened. The goal is we get every child who wants to have in-person learning this year, have in-person learning. We have the safeguards this year, and then we have a great summer school program to really get kids their mojo back. But it's just a complete lie that some of these folks who didn't help us at all last year are now turning around or Johnny on the spot. It's really hypocritical.
Summer school. How do you think
it's going to be too hot for those kids to be in school?
With, families and kids, and do you think it's a good thing to have, or do you think it's going to add to the collective agita about COVID in the first place?
So I think summer school has to be completely different than how we would normally envision it. It has to be much more like camp. So wealthier parents are already starting to figure out how they can get their kids to camp this summer. And let me just also say, I agree with Joe Biden. I agree with Dr. Wen. It was irresponsible and unconscionable what the governors in Mississippi and Texas did, because we're so close. So if we think about summer as a place for joy, as a place for enrichment, so kids can get their mojo back, I think it's going to be a net plus. If we think about it as remediation, where a kid is going to sit with a tutor, I think it's going to be a net minus. We have to help kids deal with and get their resiliency back and deal with the social isolation that they have had.
Absolutely.
I was in that. Let me just say this.
Go ahead, please.
The school was open. I was with Dr. Biden, First Lady, and with Dr. Cardona. This was Dr. Cardona's home district and a district that we represent and spent a lot of time with. The joy in that school, the joy in the kindergartner spaces, the joy in seeing the First Lady walk the halls, talking to all the teachers. They have the safeguards. People are back in school. There is a sense of resiliency and joy there. I wish everybody could see it.
Quick thing, and I'll tell you, you're welcome back on the show, Randy. These are very important issues. I live them personally, and I know they matter most to most families. What percentage of the kids do you think are going to be way behind where they're supposed to be after a year of schooling the way we had to go through it?
So, I think, Chris, we don't really know that answer. I think what we do know is that if we can actually deal with kids' well-being and get their resiliency and their mojo back, I think you're going to see a lot of kids snap back in a fabulous way. But we have to actually start with resiliency, and we have to start with addressing the social emotional deprivation of kids being alone for so long.
Well, if they're going to think about summer school, they better start talking about it soon, because families have to plan and figure it out. But
right,
I got to go. You are always welcome here to discuss these issues. They're not going away. Randy Weingarten, big news today, but it's not the end of the story. Thank you for being here.
Exactly.
Stay safe. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
With Audible, I can be transported somewhere that is impossible to go.
The Audible Plus catalog is awesome.
It's like having a streaming service, but just for audio content.
There's so many options. There's podcasts.
I'll listen to meditations. I love audio originals.
Mythology, anthropology, a lot of the ologies.
We pretty much have whatever you like.
It's just endless.
To start your free 30-day trial, just text JOIN15 to 500-500.
Do you have a crock on your counter stuffed with utensils, many of which you don't even use? Hi, I'm Lucinda Scala Quinn.
chef, author, and TV host. And with over 10 years as the executive food director for Martha Stewart, I've tried every kitchen product you could dream of. But nothing beats my Spurtles. They'll be the hardest working tools in your kitchen. It's a simple idea designed in the 16th century in Scotland for stirring oatmeal, and it makes so much sense. Think of the Spurtle as 10 tools in one. Unlike wooden spoons that are rounded at the end, the Spurtle gets in where the side of the pan meets the bottom and leaves no food behind. Here's canned tuna, and I've chopped some veggies that I'm going to scrape directly into the bowl. Scoop out the mayo in one fell swoop, and with all that surface
And he didn't say it like, he was in high dudgeon and angry. He was straight, like matter of fact. And he said, I was asked for things in a moment of crisis that I had never been asked for before. And they sent in the National Guard real quick over the summer. I'm not saying it was the wrong call. I'm saying it was quick. The guy wasn't given these steps. When it came to Trump needing National Guard to walk down to that church, he wasn't given these steps. Mm-hmm. But on January 6th, he was. Yeah. And Phil Mudd gave us a great question that I'm sure you'll pursue with your intel types tonight, which is, when they had that meeting on the 5th, where was the White House and what were they saying they wanted? That's an important thing. Now, you're not going to hear these Republicans ask it. I've never seen these terrormonger guys go soft on terror the way they are on this. It is amazing.
Well, let me tell you, if you really want to know what happened, all you have to do is speak with a Capitol police officer, a Metro police officer, anyone who was anywhere near that Capitol on January 6th. They know what happened. They know what happened, but I'm saying the story of why they didn't have more help. Oh, they know that. They know that too. Just because they're out there, they're the folks who are out there on the beat, it doesn't mean that they don't know what happened. They know what's going on. And all you have to do is talk to them, and they will tell you what happened. They'll tell you who and where and what dropped the ball. Yeah, I get you, but they know what happened. I know, but they weren't in the room, is what I'm saying. You know, you get this guy who was being given the layered instruction before he could make a call, and that 3 hours went by before he got the go-ahead. That's the guy. You know what I mean? I'm sure other people know it, but he lived it. And here's what they're doing. Blame that guy. Blame that guy. Well, look, there's always a little CYA in these situations. But again, look, either they gave him the layered approval approach, or they didn't. And I didn't hear anybody say, yeah, no, that never happened. He's lying. Yeah. Well, they're concerned about that and about, so-called cancel culture, which doesn't mean anything anymore. We're going to talk about that as well. And worried about all the wrong things, questioning about all the wrong things, all the things that they think make them look good in the eyes of the Trump supporters and the conspiracy theorists. That's what they're concerned about. Not the truth, not what really happened, and as you said, not with the command structure. We'll get to the bottom of it. The truth will come out, but will they believe it? Who knows? You look like you're ready to get to the bottom of it. You're just like Joe Friday today. Goodbye. I love you, D-Love. And you more. I'll see you later. We got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to take you live to the Capitol. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. Breaking news, and there it is. The Capitol, live. And it is on high alert tonight. Can you believe it? With another threat to lawmakers. Another one. Less than 2 months after rioters stormed the Capitol and hunted our elected representatives in the halls of justice. Supposed to be the halls of justice. And they're taking the threat seriously now. So seriously that the House is working late into the night so that they don't have to be in the Capitol tomorrow, March 4th. That's the date that the conspiracy theorists like QAnon, they are obsessed with that date. They are convinced that Donald Trump will be inaugurated again. Folks, this is where we live right now. You have one side who is trying to live in reality, is living in reality, and you have another side who just is believing in conspiracy theories, who doesn't understand what's happening in their own party, who is catering to QAnon people and liars. That's the truth. Only one side is doing that. The FBI and Homeland Security warning about increasing chatter from extremists about possible plots. That as we have new details tonight about just what went so horribly wrong on January 6th. And what we're learning is really pretty shocking. It took 3 hours and 19 minutes from the first call from the Capitol Police to get the D.C. National Guard to the Capitol, where rioters were running wild.
At 1:49 p.m., I received a frantic call from then Chief of United States Capitol Police Stephen Son, where he informed me that the security perimeter of the United States Capitol had been breached by hostile rioters. Chief Son, his voice cracking with emotion, indicated that there was a dire emergency at the Capitol, and he requested the immediate assistance of as many available National Guardsmen that I could muster. Immediately after that 1:49 call, I alerted the U.S. Army senior leadership of the request.
You have to hear. How much more evidence do you need in order to accept the truth. The National Guard commander testifying that he had 155 guardsmen ready to go. But a memo one day before the riot said that he had to get approval from the Secretary of Army and the Secretary of Defense.
We dialed in trying to get the Secretary of the Army on the call, but he wasn't available.
Wasn't available? He wasn't available. While rioters were allowed to run rampant, he wasn't available. While guardsmen were sitting on buses ready to go.
We put guardsmen on buses. We brought them inside the armory so nobody could see them putting on the equipment and getting on the buses. And then we just waited to get the approval.
They waited. And they waited. And they waited. All of this, them waiting, while rioters were breaking down doors and storming the Capitol. It took more, that pause that I just gave you, this is like 10 seconds. But imagine 3 hours. It took more than 3 hours to deploy the National Guard. 3 hours. Look what happened in the 10 seconds there. How many people got into that Capitol? 3 hours while police were attacked, crushed indoors. 3 hours while officers tried to fight back, completely outnumbered. 3 hours, outrageous. And let's remember, all of that, the riot, the violence, the death and destruction, it all happened because of the big lie. The big lie. And incredibly, one of the people whose life was threatened that day is still doubling down on the big lie today. Mike Pence, incredibly writing an op-ed on a conservative website, pushing the bogus charge that there were, his words, significant voting irregularities in the last election. There were no significant voting irregularities, people. Stop falling for this bull crap. No, it wasn't. Didn't happen. I know you wanted to. Didn't happen. There weren't. No matter how many times the former president's enablers say it, it is not true. Just yesterday, Trump's handpicked FBI director testified there's absolutely no evidence of voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election. No evidence. None. His attorney general, the one that carried so much water for the former president, said the exact same thing. But Mike Pence, remember they wanted to hang him, right? He's so enthralled to this disgrace, twice impeached, one-term former president, that he is still supporting that big lie. The big lie that nearly got him killed. Jesus. Mike Pence knows that was a lie, that he knows. And they were saying, hang Mike Pence. Jeez. The big lie that incited those writers put up. See the gallows? They wanted to hang you, Mike Pence, for something that you know is a lie. Pence and his family escaping just a minute before rioters charged up the stairs. As hero Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman distracted them. There he is, distracting them from Mike Pence, who's now putting out some crap about a stolen election or irregularities. Come on, Mike Pence. You care about power that much? I guess you do. I shouldn't even ask that question. Shouldn't waste my time. All that, and Mike Pence is still sucking up to his former boss. Have you not debased yourself enough for that? Man. Not only were Pence and his family in mortal danger, those hero officers, police officers, like Eugene Goodman, they were in danger as well. And let's remember, Donald Trump didn't even call Mike Pence during the riot to find out if he and his family were okay. Instead, he tweeted before he was permanently banned from Twitter for his lies, tweeted an attack on his own vice president. But all that is okay with Mike Pence now. Fine with a big lie, fine with his life being in danger, he's fine with voter suppression. He's gambled his integrity away. Might as well put it all on red right now, right? Might as well ride it out, ride it like a cowboy. He's not the only one. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp says if he'd support Trump, he'd do it in 2024.
Real quickly, Donald Trump is the 24 nominee.